3 summers ago, I lived alone in a second-floor apartment that I thought was the safest place in the world. The building was from the 1920s. Solid brick construction, 15 feet off the ground. You'd need a ladder to reach my windows, or you'd have to be impossibly tall. My landlord, Peterson, lived downstairs with his wife. Quiet couple, never any problems. The neighborhood was a suburban paradise, tree-lined streets where the biggest excitement was someone's garbage day mix-up. My apartment had large windows facing the street. During the day, they filled the place with light. At night, they became black mirrors, reflecting everything back at you. It was one of those suffocating summer nights when the air sits on you like a wet blanket. No breeze, just oppressive humidity that makes your skin sticky. The forecast promised thunderstorms that never came. Around midnight, the power died. Not gradually, instantly. 1 second I'm watching television, the next everything goes black. Complete silence. Even the background hum of the city seemed muffled. I looked outside. The entire neighborhood was dark. Street lights, house lights, everything dead. Widespread outage. I lit some candles and settled in with a book, figuring the power would return within an hour. These outages never lasted long in our area. 20 minutes later, a shadow moved past my bedroom window. Quick movement at the edge of my vision, gone before I could focus on it. I stared at the window, trying to make sense of what I'd seen. My apartment was 15 feet up. There was no tree close enough to cast shadows. I convinced myself it was nothing and went back to reading. 20 minutes later, it happened again. This time at the living room window facing the street, same shadow, passing by like someone walking outside. That made no sense. There was no wind to move branches, and no tree reached that high anyway. I blew out the candles and sat in darkness, letting my eyes adjust. After a few minutes, I could see well enough by moonlight. That's when I saw the face. Pressed against my bedroom window glass, pale, almost white, with dark hollow eyes too big for the face. The mouth was slightly open, breathing fog onto the glass. The eyes weren't blinking, just staring straight at me. I blinked hard. When I opened my eyes, it was gone. My heart hammered so loud I could hear it. Someone was outside my second-story window, but that was impossible. I grabbed my phone to call 911. No signal. The cell towers must have been affected by whatever killed the power. I crouched in the dark, hoping whoever it was would think no one was home and leave. That's when the tapping started. Soft, polite knocking on my kitchen window. Like someone asking to be let in. I crawled on hands and knees to the kitchen, staying below window level. The tapping stopped the moment I got close. I waited there for 10 minutes, not moving, barely breathing. Then came the scratching. Fingernails dragging across my bedroom window glass. Long, deliberate scratches that made an awful squeaking sound. The noise was methodical, purposeful. Starting at one side of the window, dragging slowly across to the other, pause, then starting again. The scratching continued for what felt like hours, but was probably only minutes. Each scratch set my teeth on edge, making my whole body tense. Then it stopped. Everything went quiet. I stayed crouched in the kitchen for an hour, legs cramping, too terrified to move. Just when I thought whoever it was had left, I heard footsteps on the roof. Heavy, deliberate steps, moving from one end of the building to the other, then back again. The old house creaked under the weight. Someone was pacing up there, looking for a way in. How had they gotten onto the roof? There was no ladder, no fire escape, nothing to climb. The pacing continued, each footstep echoing through the ceiling above me. Then the power came back. All my lights blazed to life. The television roared back on at full volume, making me jump. The refrigerator hummed to life. The footsteps stopped instantly. As soon as my phone got back signal, I called 911. The operator said they'd had multiple calls about suspicious activity during the outage and sent 2 officers. They arrived 30 minutes later and searched everything. The roof, every window, the entire yard. Found no evidence anyone had been there. No ladder marks on the brick, no footprints on the roof, no scratches on the glass. But they found something strange in the backyard. Directly under my bedroom window, the grass was pressed down in a perfect circle 6 feet across, like something heavy had been sitting there for hours. Could be anything, one officer said. Maybe a big dog sleeps there. But Peterson said no one in the area had a dog that size. The next morning, I looked out my bedroom window in daylight. The grass circle was still there, and I noticed something that made me sick. Handprints on the outside of the window glass. Small ones, like a child's hands, pressed against the glass halfway up the window. Child-size handprints on the outside of a second-story window, 15 feet off the ground. Peterson helped me clean them off, but I took pictures first. 2 weeks later, my neighbor Becky returned from visiting family. A few days after she got back, I saw her talking to Peterson in the yard. She looked shaken. "Someone's been watching my house at night," she was saying. I walked over, my stomach dropping. When I come home from my late shift, I see someone standing at my upstairs bedroom window. Just a shadow, looking down at me. When I go upstairs to check, there's nothing there. "What time does this happen?" I asked. "Always around midnight, and only when the power flickers. We've been having electrical issues, right? The lights blink for a few seconds. That's when I see the figure." She wrapped her arms around herself. "Last night, I heard scratching on my bedroom window, like fingernails on glass. Long, slow scratches that made this awful squeaking sound. My vision started to blur. I was too scared to look. I just sat downstairs listening. Scratch, 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 for maybe 10 minutes. These deliberate scratches, like someone trying to write something in the glass. Did you see who was doing it?" I managed to ask. "That's the thing. My bedroom is second floor, just like yours. No way someone could reach that window. But I looked outside. No ladder. No one there. Nothing." She looked directly at me, but I could hear them on my roof, heavy footsteps pacing back and forth. The incident stopped as suddenly as they started. But here's what I can't stop thinking about. Becky's bedroom window and mine were both on the second floor, both 15 feet off the ground, both impossible to reach without the equipment we never found. But we both heard the same scratching. Both saw shadows that shouldn't exist. Both had our power cut at exactly midnight. How did it know we were alone? How did it reach windows that can't be reached? And why child-sized handprints? Last month, I drove back to that neighborhood. Peterson still lives there, But the upstairs apartment is empty now. Has been for over a year, he told me. Can't seem to keep tenants, he said. People keep moving out after a few weeks. Say they don't feel safe. Becky moved away too. Left suddenly one night, Peterson said. Didn't even pack everything. I asked him if there had been any more power outages. Every few months, he told me. Always around midnight. Always just our block. The electric company can't explain it. He paused, looking up at my old bedroom window. Funny thing though, during the outages, I sometimes see someone standing up there in the empty apartment, just a shadow at the window. I followed his gaze. There was nothing there. But Peterson, I said, if the apartment's empty, who's turning on the lights? He stared at me for a long moment. There are no lights on during the outages, he whispered. The power's out, but I can still see the shadow, standing there in the dark. I haven't been back since, but I need to know. If it can appear in windows 15 feet off the ground, if it can leave child handprints where no child could reach, if it can be seen in apartments with no electricity, what exactly was looking for a way in?